Magic just passed its 25th anniversary this year, and it has had quite a long run. That's not to say that there haven't been times where Magic's longevity was unsure though. I'm your host Mike, and I'll be talking about 5 things that threatened Magic's existence. 6th edition rules changes. Magic can be an extremely complex game, and the early rules compounded that. Odd or irregular phrasing between cards caused rulings to be made on a card-by-card basis, which made learning the game even more difficult. As we talked about in our video 5 antiquated mechanics you didn't know or forgot about, the 6th edition rules changes affected several of the fundamentals of the game, including the introduction of the stack and removal of the damage prevention step. This was one of the largest negative reactions from the Magic community, and established players were definitely upset with relearning how to play the game. With time, players came to appreciate uniformity of rules and phrasing. Pitch cards. The East Coast playtesters were a group of players from UPenn that playtested and even designed a few early sets. Unfortunately, those who already know this group are probably not too impressed because they are infamously known for designing Fallen Empires, a notoriously bad set. Chris Page was one of these playtesters and proofread some of Mark Rosewater's Magic puzzles. In this, he noticed that the opponent was left tapped out so that the puzzle solver would have less variables. This inspired the creation of pitch cards, cards that could be played even when completely tapped out by exiling or pitching another card from the hand to play it. Though Force of Will is an important and heavily used card today, players' initial reactions were very negative. Obviously, they felt that a player should not be able to play something without mana. The reaction here was negative enough for the customer service team to send a letter to the Wizards corporate president in an attempt to keep pitch cards from further releases. The Chronicles Expansion. In recent years, players have become very acquainted with so-called reprint sets and have seen 1 or even 2 every year, with the most recent release being Ultimate Masters. Wizards announced that this was the last reprint set for the foreseeable future, but this wasn't the first time they've said that. Chronicles was not released officially as an expansion, but as an extension to 4th edition. This was done to include it in the then current standard environment without bumping another expansion out. The outcry came from collectors whose stock of cards from sets like Legends and Antiquities began to tank due to the heavy reprinting. Chronicles was initially designed to be printed to demand, which further threatened collections. The backlash was enough to prompt a public statement from the then Vice President of R&D Bill Rose, which stated that there were no plans to do another reprint expansion. This statement held true for nearly 20 years until the original Modern Masters was released in 2013. Nalathni Dragon Promo. The early Magic novels gave the purchaser a voucher which they could send in and get functionally unique cards that they would not be able to obtain from any other Magic product. This annoyed players who lived outside of North America where the books were published, but there wasn't any particular backlash. Then, for the 1994 Dragon Con convention, Wizards offered a special promo card to attendees. It was named Nalathni Dragon. Now, the card itself is nothing special, but that wasn't the issue. These were the days before the internet was fully commercialized and a year before eBay was even created, so they were essentially impossible to obtain outside of the Atlanta area where the convention took place. Although it wasn't a great card anyway, it's easy to see the slippery slope this could go down. There was such a loud outcry over it that Wizards decided to stop printing functionally unique cards outside of booster packs. That has changed a bit though, and now includes other supplemental products like intro decks. Introduction of Standard, Type 2. During the first few Magic expansions, there was only one sanctioned constructed game format, which is what we would call Vintage today. The card pool consisted of any card that had been printed, with a few cards being restricted or banned. Wizards decided to create a second format which required the first to be named. The first then became Type 1, and then Type 2 was born. Type 2 is what we now officially call Standard, and it features a rotating card pool as new expansions are released. Though Standard is one of the most popular formats today in terms of attendance volume, its introduction was not as well received. Fears of card obsolescence and accusations of profit-driven rotations still remain a criticism of Standard today, though at a far lower volume than when the format was introduced. It probably helps that R&D tries to balance sets for all formats nowadays. Those were 5 things that threatened Magic's existence. Were you part of the pitchfork mob for any of these? Let us know in the comments. If you liked this video, please leave us a like down below, we'd really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, you'll want to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, so you know when our new videos come out. Until then, thanks for watching.